Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. This past year, 2016, when I was at Blade Show down in Atlanta, I was talking to Steel Will and I told them I wanted to check out some more of their EDC knives, and in particular this one right here, which is the Gekko 1550 model. So they have had a larger version of this for an EDC knife. They've also turned this into a fixed blade because this style of knife was so popular, but they wanted to make some that were smaller as well. So this is the 1550, really cool looking knife, very organic, and we're going to talk about it here on Everyday Tactical Vids. So as soon as I took this knife out of the box and held it, the first thing that came to mind was organic. It's a very organic looking, and the way it feels actually in hand, super ergonomic. That's one of the things that Boris from Steel Will told me, that people just love the ergonomics on these knives. Micarta handles, you got the lock back there. You do have a pocket clip. It's going to be tip up, but it goes both right hand and left hand carry. You do have a lanyard hole there that also has a little bit of a point. It's kind of rounded, but you could certainly use that as an influencer, as I like to call it. Thumb studs on both sides, as you can see there. Let's close it up. Now it is pretty tight, so you gotta flick it a little bit. At least when this is the first time I've been checking it out, and but man, that is just a beautiful knife. I look forward to EDCing this knife quite a bit. So we're gonna put it through the paces and cut some cardboard, cut some paper, do some stuff like that. Then I'm gonna EDC it for a while, and we'll come back and tell you what we think about the Steel Will Gekko 1550 made in Italy. Let's talk through some of the specs here. Your end-to-end length, 7.87 inches. Your blade length, 3.5 inches. And your handle length, 4.37 inches. It says Gekko 1550 on this side. It also says made in Italy. And it also reminds you that your steel is, let me get it correct here, N690CO. And that is a highly corrosion resistant steel. So obviously you're going to get the knife in this box. In this looking Steel Will box. You get a warning, don't cut your face off. This shows you who inspected the knife, and then this tells you a little bit about the knife. So it's here in my pocket, as you can see. Rides quite deep. The clip is quite snug, which is good. Take it out and then deploy. And I will tell you that as I've been holding onto this knife, I keep going like this because I'm looking for like a frame lock or liner lock. So it is a back lock system. Just be reminded of that. And there it is back in the pocket. This paper is actually slightly thicker than normal paper, and it's definitely been crumbled. This is what it was actually, this is the kind of the packing material inside the box, but we'll show you how this works anyhow. Yeah, I mean, no problem, just like butter. Man, that is fun to use. So obviously it comes razor sharp. Here's the cardboard box that it came in. Same thing. I mean, no problem whatsoever. I'll try and not cut my hand off here. A little bit more. Yeah, I mean, this thing. And again, the ergonomics are amazing. You hold on to this and you're like, that's what a knife. Man, that really just, it feels great in hand. Really, really nice in hand. I didn't have any paracord kick around, but I did have this plastic bottle. So just to show you again, one thing I really like about this knife is that spear point. There's a little bit of swedge there. I wouldn't really call it a drop point, but anyhow, that's spear point to me. Anyhow, piercing in, and just like butter. So, I made a video not too long ago talking about what to look for in an EDC knife, and there's weight, and there's the support you get from the company if you have an issue, there's size, there's blade style, there's what are you going to be using it for. I'm telling you, this thing fits into all those categories for me. Steel Will Gekko 1550, again, initial use, and having seen it before, I thought I'd like it, but I like it a lot. So since this knife is in the outdoor series, let's cut a little wood with it. As I'm doing this here, I'm thinking like if I made a frog gig, for example, and I wanted to sharpen the points on the gig, it'd be nice to have a smaller knife like this to get into the small space and do that work. I mean, as you can see, this thing just great. Again, super comfortable in hand. A pocket clip is always going to be, well, not always, but it's usually going to be a central point of discomfort. You know, if you get that thing pressing into your hand too much, it's going to agitate you, but not with this thing. The tip on this, just show you real quick. It's pretty fine, so I would do some maybe tiny work like this, but definitely not doing any prying. Here's a smaller piece of wood. Again, no problem whatsoever with this thing. So if you're making, again, your frog gig, or you can see that's a nice fine. Let's see if we can get that focused in there. Nice fine tip with this guy. Do the other end again. If you want to get some really small shavings, you could do that as well. So that's what that looks like. Certainly able to do that detail work just fine. It's been weeks now that I've been EDCing the Gekko 1550 from Steel Will, and what I'm going to tell you is that this is probably in my top 5 for EDC knives now. What do I like about it? Again, ergonomic, just really easy to hold, a good size for me, not too small, not too big for an EDC knife. I like that tip. It's been really good for piercing. The N690CO, I do like the steel. It's kept an edge really, really well. This thing comes amazingly polished. I mean, just look at that. You can just see, and it's a little thing, but it just shows attention to detail. And I've been just spending a lot of times like taking it and wiping it off of my shirt just to keep all the fingerprints and stuff off of it. But I do like this knife quite a bit for those reasons. As far as the locking mechanism, it is a back lock. I would say I prefer a liner lock. But this has worked great, locks up real nice and strong, so no issues there whatsoever. As I mentioned, this is probably in my top 5 for EDC knives now. If you want to know why I chose this knife as one of my top 5 EDC knives, and or kind of like my selection process, I put a link down below to how I make decisions and a bunch of things I think about for choosing an EDC knife. I'm liking the Steel Will Gekko enough that I'm actually going to get in touch with them to see if I can try out one of their fixed blade full-size Gekko knives and get out into the woods and test that out. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see if we can get score one of those for review. Steel Will Gekko 1550. Click the Show More tab down below this video, and you can click through to links if you want to purchase this knife and help support the Everyday Tactical Vids channel. That'd be a big help. Thanks as always for checking out the videos. More videos coming soon. Take care.